Thank you so much again for being here. My name is Tom O'Donnell. My title is Senior Director of Innovation Initiatives here at the university. What does that mean? It means I have the privilege of oversight and running two centers, the Innovation Hub here in Lowell, another Innovation Hub up in April, as well as teaching in the business school. Now those two Innovation Hubs, hopefully, we'll be seeing some of you at those spaces as you progress in your ventures, in your businesses, once you graduate from the DifferenceMaker and moving things forward. Because our job is to provide space, support, services, connections, access to other resources to help accelerate and progress your ventures as they eventually get to the point where they're viable, sustainable, and growing. I have the privilege of working for Steve Tello, our Vice Provost of Innovation and Workforce Development, who would have been here tonight. He passes on his best wishes, and he wanted me just to say, again, welcome, because he and our current Chancellor, Jackie Maloney, who also was hoping to be here, but unfortunately had another engagement that she could not get away from. The two of them are the key champions on campus and are the ones who brainstormed about DifferenceMaker back 8-9 years ago. So when you see them, thank them, because without them and without their support, this program would not exist. So before we get started, let me ask a question. Why are you guys here? Anybody want to venture a guess? Why are you sitting in these seats? Because obviously, you took time away from your schedules. Why are you here? Come on. Have some courage. Why are you here? To make a difference. Yes. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, come on. Nobody? So let me make some suggestions. Some of you may be here because there's good food around the corner, right? Some of you may be here because you're, go ahead. Networking, very good. Some of you may be here because your professor said you need to be there. It's a great program. Some of you may be here because you saw the brochures and the flyers saying, great opportunity to win some money. If you're successful and win at the end of the Idea Challenge competition. All okay reasons, but I would suggest to you making a difference and having an opportunity to drive your ideas forward, addressing problems, and eventually having an impact is what we hope is the core reason you are here. And we're going to help you do that. But two corollary reasons. One is you'll have the opportunity, stuff you're learning in the classroom. The DifferenceMaker program is an opportunity to take those learnings and apply them around something that you care about. So that experiential opportunity. Another reason is if you commit to the DifferenceMaker program, there are going to be plenty of opportunities for you to develop a variety of 21st century skills around creativity, around problem solving, around team building, around collaboration, around resource, finding resources to help you do that. And so the key about that is whether or not you move forward with your venture, with your idea, you'll still benefit immensely if you commit to the DifferenceMaker program overall. And it's always great if you can win some money at the end. And there's plenty of money to be won. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, first and foremost, welcome, and some introductions on some key folks who all of you should meet, engage with, and develop relationships with in these next 2-3 months. We're also going to talk more about the DifferenceMaker program overall. And hopefully, well, at the end of tonight, the why becomes more real. The why you're here, why you're going to take time to commit to the program, why what you do is going to be meaningful. Without that why, it's all about just going through the motions. And we hope, truly hope that's not the case. That there's a bigger why around why you're here. Does that make sense? Then we'll talk about what the program looks like overall, the dates and deliverables that are going to be very instrumental for you to be successful in the DifferenceMaker program overall. Because if you don't meet the dates, you don't hit those milestones, it's going to be difficult for you to get to the end and really have a meaningful experience. And then Ollie Butler, director of the DifferenceMaker program, is going to lead a panel discussion around previous teams that have gone through exactly what hopefully you're going to go through and sat in the same seats that you're sitting here today, and we're kind of scratching their head saying, okay, what's next for me, for the team overall? So make it real, make it compelling, and identify folks who you want to engage with, the teams who've gone through it, who've gotten the scars, who've learned the lessons. Another group of people for you to connect with, potentially could be your mentors, and help you navigate this very interesting and exciting idea challenge, the DifferenceMaker program overall. And to end it up, hopefully all of you will stick around, and we're going to do an idea hack. So the program would not exist, and it would not be successful if it wasn't for a wide variety of key cast members and characters who are supporting you in this path, in your navigation of the DifferenceMaker program. So knowing who they are, engaging with them, is important because getting their help and their assistance is very important. So first and foremost, the DifferenceMaker faculty fellows. The faculty members in the colleges here on campus who are responsible for working with all of you and know how to navigate the colleges that they're resident in and help you connect to resources, but think more broadly. So if I can get the folks who are here, and I see Neil Shortland over in Fine Arts, Humanities, Social Sciences. Who else do I see in the back? So we see Mastin Al-Vaziri in the back, and he's part of the College of Health Sciences. Who else do I see? Oh, Hunter Mack in the College of Engineering, and has got a lot of expertise in energy technologies. Who else is here? Mike's huge stuff. Manning School of Business. Michael Badalaro, who is faculty fellow and focused on going out into the classrooms and help you learn more about the DifferenceMaker program and get you engaged more aggressively. Is that it? Brent is here. Brent Shell in the College of Health Sciences, and all of the faculty fellows that you see on this list are there to support you and help you, as I mentioned, navigate a path to hopefully eventual success. So reach out, connect with them, work with them more aggressively. Now, the leaders of the DifferenceMaker program as a whole, as I mentioned, Steve Feller, Vice Provost of Innovation Workforce Development, is a key staff member, senior staff member, leader on campus who's responsible for driving this. On his team, Ollie Butler, director of the DifferenceMaker program, and Afo, manager of the DifferenceMaker program overall. Day to day, the two of them, please get to know them. They reside in the DifferenceMaker Central, over across the way here, get to know them. They know everything about how to navigate the program, who to talk to, how to use the right resources at the right time, and they've been here since day one. So kudos to Holly and Hal. And from a senior leadership on campus, the deans, the provost, the vice provost, and I see Joe Hockman, Dean of the College of Engineering. Joe, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate that. Joe has been a strong advocate and supporter of the DifferenceMaker program since he's been on campus. 4 years now? 4.5? 5.5. Wow, it goes quick. So again, thank you so much, Joe, for being here. We very much appreciate it. And then a variety of other folks who, if you engage, Holly, and the rest of us will help you navigate that. So your job is to engage, connect, and help all of us to help you to move this forward. So when we talk about a DifferenceMaker program, fundamentally, it's about helping you move your ideas through a bunch of different steps, which we'll talk about in more detail, hopefully to the point where your idea has impact, addresses a need, addresses a challenge, and eventually gets into the hands of those folks who have that need. They use it, they apply it, and they address and solve that problem overall. So that's the key. How do you navigate that path from first identifying the problem and really understanding that problem? And trust me when I say, crisply understanding and being able to articulate the real problem is very important. Understanding why that problem is not being addressed with solutions today. And understanding how your idea, your proposed solution can engage in that gap, that need, in a way that's different than anybody else. That's different in a way that attracts the attention of key stakeholders. Customers, the folks who have the need. Investors, people who might want to give you some money. Partners, who you need to work with you to help move that forward. And potentially early team members, who you want to work with you to move that forward. If you cannot articulate how your idea can get to that point of impact, and you know those steps, and know how to navigate those steps to that point of impact, to engage those stakeholders, and it's going to be extremely challenging. That's what the DifferenceMaker program is all about. To help you understand all those steps, to understand how to clearly articulate what the problem is, to clearly articulate how you're addressing that problem and what the value is. Clearly articulate how you're building the team, how you're gathering the right resources that you're going to need, money, equipment, other resources. Putting that team together in a way that's compelling. And trust me when I say, having the right team is probably one of the most critical elements to this. And the DifferenceMaker team can help you do that. And ultimately get to that point where all those pieces come together and you can make a difference. You can put that solution in the hands of those customers, of the folks with the need overall. That's what the DifferenceMaker program is all about. Some teams who are sitting in these seats, having, at the stage you're at right now, having the same questions about how to do that, were able to navigate that path, crisply articulate why what they're doing was important. Building a team around them, gathering the right resources that they need, money, equipment, other resources, crafting the right story and narrative overall, and getting out there in the real world. So these statistics that you see up here demonstrate that it can be done, that it can get to the point of real impact. Raising money, pushing. So we hope that eventually you can be a statistic up here in fundraising, solving it and addressing those needs and moving it forward. So when we talk about the challenge, we touched on it overall. Navigating that process. And the first step is attacking the challenge, the DifferenceMaker idea challenge. Getting that idea crisply articulated. Putting together the team. Submitting your application in a timely fashion. And making sure you can articulate what your plan is overall. And if you're successful, there's money at the end of the path. So, from a deadline standpoint, all this is available on the website. It's up on brochures and flyers. And these dates are extremely important for you to understand and stick to overall. First and foremost, getting February 12th, that application, that first high-level application is due. That talks about what that idea actually is. Then, a more detailed idea plan, essentially a month out, is due. But in those 4 weeks, those 5 weeks, you're going to have a lot of help, a lot of guidance, a lot of support, going from that idea to a fully fleshed out plan with a presentation. And eventually present that at the competition overall. So that help that you're going to get is, well, let me talk about this first. As you're doing that, as I mentioned, probably one of the most important things is pulling that team together. And we like to suggest and strongly recommend that the best teams are multidisciplined and diverse and come from South Campus, North Campus, business skills, technical skills, customer skills overall. We can help you do that. There's a tool online called the Team Maker tool that's on the DifferenceMaker website that can help you if you're a team already. It can help you flesh that team out more broadly. Or if you're a single entrepreneur, help you identify additional team members. So connect to this tool, walk through it, and build that team. And as I mentioned, if you have no team at all, get on there and join the team. Those 4 weeks from that initial submission of the idea to the submission of the plan, the detailed plan, that's where it gets meaty. That's where it gets interesting. And that's where these workshops and all the support from the team is extremely important. We've seen that the teams who are the most successful are the ones who engage in these workshops. So I'd strongly recommend that you take advantage of these resources. From the first one, crisply identifying those problems more aggressively. Critical. What if you're solving the wrong problem? You think you're doing one problem, and your solution is really attacking a different problem. Or it's a problem that nobody cares about. That's not good. Getting into assessing who's actually going to care if you address that problem. So the opportunity to push that forward. The customer, the market, who cares about what you're doing? And then what it means to push that forward from a business model that would be compelling and allow you to take that solution to the market in a way that's scalable, sustainable, and allows you to be effective overall. And then ultimately, so you're prepared for the pitch competition at the end, help you develop that pitch. Because if you cannot communicate all those things in a compelling way, nobody's going to care. Those key stakeholders, investors, partners, customers, team members. But in that case, most importantly, the judges who are going to be there that day, who are successful entrepreneurs, who are successful executives, who understand these spaces, and are going to ask you the questions around that. So think of them as investors, as customers, and as others who you're going to need to convince overall. So we're going to help you do that. So we'll leave you with this. Get involved. Get involved. Don't treat this as just a check the box. Really view it as an opportunity, not to just meet some new friends, raise some money, but as I mentioned earlier, treat it as an opportunity to develop those 21st century skills and position for success more broadly. And if you can raise some money and develop a viable venture, that's fantastic. And we're here to help you do that. So let's jump to the next stage. The panel. Holly Butler, the program director for DifferenceMaker, will now come up and introduce the folks who are going to be up here and share their insights. Before we do that, do I have time for one or two questions or not? Yeah, just one, maybe two. Any questions on anything that I've shared with you so far? Question?
What if you don't have an idea yet, but you want to watch it being executed and come up with an idea, sort of see how they do everything?
So the question was, if I just wanted to watch the process and engage in the process and not be involved actively on a given team, is there an opportunity to do that? I would suggest for this, the best way and the only real way is to get engaged, be part of a team, and you may not necessarily have an idea, but get engaged because you have insights, you have experiences, all of you have value to contribute to a team, whether or not you have something fleshed out right now. An idea, a team already formed, all of you have value. So connect to the team maker, potentially identify, but tonight's exercise, the idea act tonight, use that as an opportunity to identify something that you might have interest in. Question? Last one.
So what if you have already made an idea and then already applied and then you decided you want to modify it and change it? Is that possible?
Modify at what stage?
Tom, I can take that question. I can answer that question.
Was the idea?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah. So I know we talked about this before. Can everybody hear me? Okay, thank you. So even when you apply, you can log back in to manage a team. So whatever team member initially applied, you can log back in, you can add additional team members, and you can revise your application. So you can basically revise it once you submit it. So if it changes a little bit, that's totally fine. Because the idea is, your idea is going to constantly be changing. So we want you to be able to revise your idea. And regarding the team maker question about if you don't have an idea, our team maker portal, you can actually log into it online, and you can see all current teams that have already applied. So you can actually connect with them through the TeamMaker platform if you don't have an idea but you want to join a team. And then teams who need additional team members can log into TeamMaker and see all the people who are looking to join a team. So it's basically an online team matching software. And then like Tom had mentioned, also getting engaged with our activities and our events like you're all here doing today. All right.
Thank you all so very much.
Yes, thank
And
you.
please, one last thing. Come on down. If you haven't, how many have been to the Innovation Hub? Yes. Okay, I want to see by the end of this program, all of you have had an opportunity to come down, see what's going on, and participate in the activities. So again, thank you so much, and Holly, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Tom. So, we're going to get started with some questions. We have Kiara Welsh here from UML Green Group. She won in 2017 the Fan Favorite Prize, which was $1,000. And then we have Tyler Cody from Operation 250, and he won the 2017 Campus-Wide DifferenceMaker Prize, which was $6,000. So we're going to ask them some questions. We're going to open up to the audience for questions as well. But these students have been in your shoes. So they're here to share their experiences with their projects and the DifferenceMaker process. So Kara, I'm going to start with you. So as a biology major, you got involved in DifferenceMaker. So can you please talk a bit about your project and what initially sparked it?
Yeah, so I actually started in, it was similar to this, it was orientation, freshman orientation. We had DifferenceMaker talking about the goal for UMass Lowell to reach carbon neutrality. And they were having us just go through an exercise of trying to come up with ideas to help out with that. And it was just sort of a fun exercise. And at the end of it, me and my team had come up with this idea to introduce a green roof study space to UMass Lowell. And we were really excited about it, and we thought this was a great idea. So they recommended that when we finally actually started as freshmen at UMass Lowell, that we get involved with DifferenceMaker. So we started with the idea challenge, just like you guys here can go ahead and start, and that's how we got started.
That's awesome. So how many of you remember freshman orientation with DifferenceMaker? With the Tinker Toys and the prompt we gave you all? Awesome. So Kiara's project came out of that freshman orientation session, which is really cool. So if you have an idea that you presented there, you can feel free to apply with that as well, and we'll help you with that. So thank you for sharing that. So after winning funding from DifferenceMaker, you were linked to some mentors. So can you talk about how those mentors were able to assist you?
Yeah, so the mentors are a huge help. Because as much as college students, we love to think that we know absolutely everything. We very quickly realize we know absolutely nothing. And being a biology major and working with something that's primarily construction and engineering, I was the epitome of having no idea what I was doing. So mentors have allowed me to ask questions about everything from just how to make a basic business plan to we have a structural engineer on our team who helps us with just whether or not we can put something on a roof. And they've also helped us connect with other people. So we have our core mentors, but then we also work with, say, Rory from sustainability and different aspects of the university. So they help us make those connections that ultimately we can succeed at a far higher level than we ever would as just a group of kids basically trying to do it.
Awesome, thank you. And if you have more questions about the mentoring process or being linked up with mentors, Richard is here, so I'm sure he's happy to talk to you about that process. So Kiara, it's a lot trying to manage school and work at the same time, so do you have any tips for students who maybe have a full course load, they're working, and then also wanting to apply to DifferenceMaker? How did you make that happen?
So I'm actually a bio-pre-veterinary student. If any of you are pre-med or any pre-health, you know how insane that sort of schedule is. So having a huge course load and things like that made it a little bit more difficult, but at the same time, DifferenceMaker was a fun outlet. I got to come in and do something completely non-biology related, so even though it was adding to my schedule, it was actually almost a downtime for me. It gave me a chance to do something else, and I think it's good to have things that you're doing that are still keeping you active and involved, but are something that's not related to what you may do as your major.
Excellent, thank you. And something at DifferenceMaker that we really try to help you with is building an interdisciplinary team. So I know Kiara has an interdisciplinary team. So can you talk to the students how you use DifferenceMaker resources and how you were able to build that team of different students in different majors?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, obviously I'm a biology major, so I didn't really know what I was doing. So having an interdisciplinary team is super helpful because I was able to bring all of their ideas to the table. So as team leader for my team, I was more coordinating all of their strengths and bringing all of their strengths to create this one unified team that worked really, really well together. And that team is constantly changing. We've had new members come in. I'm about to graduate, and it's not like the project stops just because I leave. So we're actually going through the process of finding new teammates now, even as I speak. So going ahead and using that website is a really great way to do it. Coming to events like these, you might be sitting across the table from your team member. You may not know it yet, but eventually you might. And just kind of going to these various events, going to the workshops, things like that, and meeting all of the people involved in DifferenceMaker.
Excellent, thank you. So now we're going to move over to Tyler. Both of them will be around for the remainder of the event, so if you have additional questions, we'll open it up, and I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you afterwards as well. So thank you, Kiara. And so Tyler, again, he's part of the Operation 250 team who won the 2017 campus-wide DifferenceMaker, which was a $6,000 prize. That was the top prize. So he is now an alumni at UMass Lowell. He graduated with political science and criminal justice, so in fine arts, humanities, and social sciences. So Tyler, could you talk to the audience about Operation 250 and what that is?
Sure. So Operation 250 is it's a nonprofit educational organization. So it's I think it's a little bit different than maybe what a lot of people thought typically comes through DifferenceMakers, because we're not selling product as much as we are selling a model and something that we've developed that maybe, it's not something concrete, you could say. So a lot of the issues that we work with really boils down to this idea of the decisions that we make on the internet and the behaviors that we have behind a computer screen versus when we're in the real world. So we work very closely with teachers, with parents, and then their kids or students to educate and train them about how to make the right decisions online, the behaviors that we make or the behaviors that we exhibit online, and then some of the prevalent issues that we kind of intertwine into the educational process are some issues such as hate and extremism and terrorism and online grooming, and there's many reasons to why we do that. Part of it boils down to where we started in a different competition just before DifferenceMakers with the Department of Homeland Security, but then also it's because those issues aren't being talked about online, in classroom rather, and they are being talked about online. So the answers that we're getting online may not be the best place or the safest or even the ones that are correct. So what we try and do is we bring those answers into the classroom, and we try and incite the kids and incite the students and train the teachers to, one, know how to talk about these things correctly, and then two, be able to use some of these activities that we talk about in the classroom and actually put them into play once they leave that classroom.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing more about Operation 250. And I know that you've been linked up to mentors as well. And Professor Shortland, who's also one of our faculty fellows in Fine Arts, Humanities, Social Sciences, has been a mentor to Operation 250. So would you mind just sharing a bit about how the mentor program and your mentors have helped you push Operation 250 forward?
Absolutely. I could go on and on about what Professor Shortland has meant to the team, and then also what, unfortunately she's not here, but Professor Michelle Ballou. So both of them have been incredibly helpful through the whole process. And it's specifically Professor Shortland. He helps us with everything from, advising us to go to a certain classroom, to talk to certain people at events, all the way down to helping us write grants. When we work with classrooms and work with schools, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that you probably heard it growing up in school systems that they're always tight on money. So we try and do the work with the schools for free, but that means we need to get our sources of funding elsewhere. So things such as Professor Sherlin, who's had a lot of success in writing grants, has helped us a lot in writing grants, and eventually we've been awarded grants because of it. And also then Michelle, she's been outstanding because she helped us get our 501c3 nonprofit status. And she's always ready to just answer just the strangest, nitpickiest emails that I have to her, right down to how do I write a thank you donation, like a thank you letter specifically to a donor. Those are the things that you really don't think about until they send you money, and then you need to send something back to them, and you're like, is there a correct way to go about this that maybe you didn't know? And it turns out that there is. Both of those two reasons alone, they're incredibly helpful, but also it may be a little bit less of a monetary reason. They kind of jolt in this confidence into us that maybe it's very easy to lose when things start getting pretty frustrating and confusing. There were times that none of us, we were all just volunteering hours and hours a week, trying to build this product, trying to develop this idea, and Professor Shortland himself was just sitting in the room and showing the excitement that he has in the work that we're doing allows us to continue to motivate one another so that we continue to do work. So it's not, a mentor may not always be telling you exactly what to do, but it may just be being there so that you guys think that what you're doing is actually making a difference, because it will. It's just you need to get through those tough times.
Thank you. And I know a lot of our other faculty fellows have mentored teams throughout the years, so thank you all for helping our student teams. And last question, so you mentioned you've received some grants. So can you talk a bit more about that, as well as other achievements that Operation 250 has had to date?
Sure. Recently, kind of over the past year, a lot has changed and a lot has developed with Op 250. We developed a partnership with Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health on a Department of Justice grant that they had, which they're kind of measuring the change that students have before they get our program and then after they get our program. So we have an understanding of the effect that our program has on others. And that was kind of a stepping stone into what turned into an NIJ, Department of Justice, National Institute of Justice grant of our own, which amounted to just north of $1 million. It's us and then a few other partners, including UMass Lowell, to be able to really further develop the program and to kind of flesh out some of the things that we haven't been able to. This includes, going into a few dozen classrooms now. We're going to be able to have an understanding of exactly what it is that we're doing, why we're doing it, and the changes that we need to make in order to make our program the absolute strongest in 2-3 years from now. It's really been this past year's our work with Harvard, and then the most recent grant that we got from the National Institute of Justice has been outstanding, and it's allowed us to continue to work, which is really the thing that we really wanted to do. But you definitely hit a point where you need to start, you need to make money, and we're fortunate enough to get to that point.
Awesome, thank you. And last question before I open it up to audience questions. How has experiences with DifferenceMaker and your projects helped you in your current and or future careers? Just for some of you who may be thinking, if I have had a DifferenceMaker, am I going to have to do this forever? Or can it help me get a good job? So there are other opportunities.
So I think it really depends on your track. I mean, there's people that make startups with this, like Invisaware, where they're doing this full time. There's people like me that have really enjoyed it, and it's been a huge impact on helping me learn about not just things in my actual projects, such as I used to not know about the weight load that a typical roof can hold and how that's changed over history and things like that. But also just the skills, how to work with a team, how to public speak. And then it's also, I know you're thinking it in the back of your head, this looks really great on a resume, but those kind of things are really important. I actually spent winter break flying all over the country for vet school interviews. And for those of you that know anything about pre-med or things like that, vet school is considered even harder to get into than med school. So everyone there with me was absolutely outstanding students. Everyone is 4.0, done a million crazy cool things. Every single interview asked me about DifferenceMaker. It was one thing that no other student would be able to talk about having. It's something that UMass Lowell has, it's very unique, and so this is going to give you something that you can't really get anywhere else, and it's going to set you apart from every single other student out there. So while yes, you get all of these skills and things like that that are going to make you so much better, as an individual, it's something that you can really market as you go out into the workforce, out into grad school, things like that, even if you don't necessarily want to do your project forever.
Awesome, thank you for sharing that. And Tyler?
Me personally, I've had the benefit of, with the grants, where I actually worked full-time for Operation 250 as soon as I graduated. And looking back 2 years, that seemed pretty far-fetched. And it didn't seem like that was going to be an option. But because of the dedication of not only myself, but the others in our team, we all knew what we wanted out of the group and wanted out of the organization and wanted to see in a couple of years' time. And we did everything we can to get to that point. And it's benefited all of us in different ways. With me, I'm able to work full-time for the organization, something that I've really enjoyed. And then others, they've been able to use some of the work that we've done to boost themselves into roles in the government or working in positions that they wanted, and very similar to what you were mentioning, of they're able to talk about their difference makers and their, in our case, the Op 250 experience, which they wouldn't have had if it wasn't for everything that difference makers allowed us to do starting back in 2017.
Excellent, thank you. And I did want to point out that Edwin, unfortunately, from Extralog was not able to make it. He came down with the flu kind of thing. So I did want to point that out because he was really upset that he couldn't make it. But I'm happy to connect you if you want to talk to him more about DifferenceMaker in the process. I also wanted to point out George Lee from, if you want to give a wave, so he's from Iron Legion. He was last year's campus-wide DifferenceMaker team, so he'll also be here this evening if you have additional questions. But right now, do you have any questions, whether for me about the DifferenceMaker process, or Tyler, or Kiara? Any questions before we move on to the activity? Steve?
What can you spend the money on?
Is that for me or for them?
For that.
So the way that we've kind of allocated our money, which we still have some, which is because we've been able to kind of budget it and put it in different places, helped us get our 501c3 the nonprofit status. Of course, there's a lot of fees that go along with it, so we're able to do that. Whenever we go into classrooms, we don't like going in empty-handed, so we enjoy going in there with printouts or notebooks or pens or anything like that, so that we can give the students something. And then we have an event coming up here in the next few weeks, actually. And when kids are sitting in a classroom with us standing in front of them for 2.5 hours, it can be easy to doze off. I know everybody here can understand that. And so just paying for like food to go in there and toss out some goldfish to some kids. And it makes a difference. It's things like that it helps our program, and then we're able to use the funds that DifferenceMakers gave us, which has been great.
So for us, the initial funding, along with we're currently in the process of applying for the SEED grants through sustainability here at UMass Lowell, will go towards hiring somebody to do an official design. We're actually very excited to say that we have focused down on Fox roof. So if you guys have ever in the dining hall looked out through the doors, and you can see there's actually stairs right up to it, that will hopefully be a space that you guys can go out onto and enjoy within the next couple of years. So we're looking at hiring somebody to come in, review the structure of the roof, go through a full design plan for how to incorporate a green roof into that, so that we can go ahead and start designing the way they'll actually look for you guys.
So thank you. Any other questions?
We don't bite.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Tyler, why did you win? And what advice do you give other teams?
Excellent question. So you want to get that campus-wide title?
So first of all, I will say we went to all 4 of the kind of rocket pitch trainings, the workshops, and they were incredibly helpful. I remember one training that we went to, or the workshop that we went to, we were talking about applying intellectual property to some of our material online, and Neil actually got into an argument with Professor O'Donnell about whether Neil, not thinking, was like, well, we don't want people to be stealing our stuff, so But we also want to make sure that we don't want to put any locks on all of our things, so why would we put intellectual property on it? But then after we talked about it in this workshop, we're like, maybe we should protect our things, that's important, so that people aren't just making up to 51 later. The workshops definitely helped, and then it was also incredibly useful just sitting down with Holly and Ha, going over our rocket pitch, going over what the judges look for. We didn't really think about the market and the future funding opportunities, and we didn't have that in our original slideshow when we were going into the semifinals and eventually the finals. So being able to talk to them and then saying, well, where's the opportunity? If we give you the $6,000 now, how are you going to build that into the next big grant? Which got us thinking, which led us to being able to present that, the DHS and DOJ both have funding opportunities for organizations just like ours. And that helped us, and I think that made a difference when it got down to the judging.
All right, thank you. That's a good question. Yes, Steve.
You probably covered this, Holly, but could you just remind me, how much money have student DifferenceMakers at UMass Lowell raised since we started the program?
Yes, so the last count we did was 1.3 million. But I think it's actually a little more
Just
than
like
that
this,
right now.
right? Students just like this?
Yes,
1.3 million?
1.3 million. So students just like you applied to DifferenceMaker, we gave you a little bit of funding, we worked with you, linked you up with some mentors, and then you've gone on to raise over $1.3 million in grants, in other funding sources, other competitions around the country. A couple of our teams have pitched. Professor Tellos always likes to mention that we beat the MIT and Harvard teams. So there's a lot of really cool possibilities for you. And the first step is just applying by February 12th, and then we'll work with you and give you the needed resources to push you forward. So how am I doing on time?
Good.
Okay. So I think at this point, are there any other questions? Okay, so at this point, I'm going to pass it. Well, first I want to thank Tyler and Kiara. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. And so Tyler, Kiara will be here. George Lee from Iron Legion will be here. We have all of our faculty fellows. Han and I will be here. So if you have other questions throughout the event, please let us know. And with that, thank you so much. And I'm going to pass it off to Han Ho, who is the DifferenceMaker Program Manager for the activity.
Everybody, stay seated. Remember when you come in here with a sign-up sheet for the pitch your idea? I really want to hear about that, and everyone you want to hear about your ideas as well. The reason why you create the idea hack is the way that most teams is actually created here. People with idea looking for people with skills like you to join, right? And people out there want to join the team too. What is a better way for someone standing right in front of you and talk about that? So I only see one idea on this table. Right? Anyone else that sign up sheet? Raise your at that table that has sign up sheet that already write a name on it. Raise your hand. Yes. Thank you very much. Any more? Now, please don't be shy. If you already write your name down, give it to me. If you don't, keep it in mind. After the last one in this paper, just give it this. Please do stand up as well, okay?
I think we write our name and major and then we pitch a card. What is this paper? I don't know. We got here late, so we're not really sure.
Can I ask the first person to pitch the ideas? Max? Right here. Please pay attention on his idea right now. Stand up? Yeah, just stand up. And within 1 minute, can you share your idea with us? 1 minute.
Oh, really?
Let him say.
Hi everyone, I'm glad to be here and I'm glad that you are all here. And I have just one question for you. How many of you and how often do you go to the grocery store? No one goes to the grocery store? No? One, two, okay. Another thing. Probably many of you stand in line, and we have an alarm. I'm sorry, we have an alarm here going on. You probably stand in line and saw all the people, and you spent times and like hours standing there instead of going home and do nothing or maybe do your homework. My idea was to resolve this problem and create a smart shopping cart that you could use in the grocery stores instead of going to any lines or self-checkout system. That you do a lot of steps, and you do at least 6 steps. You just put your item in a basket and do all the movements that you need to do. So my solution would be to use a smart shopping cart to just put your item, it will automatically scan it, you will see your list up there on the screen, and just proceed whatever you want. So if you want to leave in the middle of the shop, go for it. You just pay for it and you leave. If not, you just go and find the item that you would like to see. Also, it's a good way to get rid of all the paper that you use for grocery store lists and everything. So it will be automatically downloaded to your app and will be implemented in the car. So it's going to show you where the item and which file it's on. Also, it shows you maybe some better way to shop, maybe some sales or maybe different items that you'd like to see. Also, it can help you to spend your time and good experience and spend less time in the stores and do your shopping experience better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, this idea is a smart shopping cart. If you're interested in his idea and want to join his team, make sure that you join his tables as well, because we're going to do something like that today. Next person. Olina. Let her talk about her idea. Oh, you can talk. Use mine.
Hello.
So let's close here.
Okay, so I don't have an idea of the product yet, but in high school I designed an experiment based on the ISS, and I kind of want to reboot that, and kind of the gist of it is that when you go to space, the microbacteria in your mouth, streptococcus humans, they produce lactic acid, which wears down your tooth enamel and what gives you cavities. So astronauts often report when they come back that they have more tooth pain, more jaw pain, and they're more susceptible to cavities. So I thought that the streptococcus would be either reproducing faster to make more lactic acid, or just capable of producing more lactic acid on their own. So we actually ran the experiment. We did one on Earth and one over the ISS, but the astronauts kind of ran for me on the same timeline. And then we compared the two of them when they got back at UMass cameras. And it turns out that streptococcus mutants, they grow differently in space. So they're longer without gravity pushing on them to grow spherically. And they also, there was higher lactic acid content, so I'm hoping to run the project a couple more times in order to sort of solidify it. When you have a scientific experiment, you can't just run one trial and say, okay, that's it. This proved my hypothesis, and keep going with it. And I'm not really sure where it's going to go yet, but I want to see if we can get anywhere through that.
Can I have a quick question?
Yeah.
With that research design, what do you think would be the application for that on?
I don't know.
What do you think use of that?
It could contribute to like dental care procedures or toothpaste or new technology with toothbrushes, but I think moving forward, it might be more applicable to sending people to space, like astronauts or like Elon Musk and his hotels. I don't know. Hey, this is a future product for space, living in space, right? Why not setting it now? So whoever wants to join the team to do further research and maybe the application for that research come out, please. She's over there, right? Okay. Thank you very much.
would help students here was a new UMass Lowell app that would combine the transportation services, the dining menus, and new guest sign-ins, because I know a lot of people have problems with that at Hop and the ICC for new guest services. And then it would also be a direct line to UMass Lowell PD.
Thank you.
What I'm doing yet.
Thank you very much. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people have a lot of idea in mind. Which one I'm going to take it first? Which one I'm going to take it as in my business, right? So you have all these questions in mind like that, right? A lot of time, each idea deserves some research. A lot of time, you would see that what kind of idea is actually, how to say, low-hanging fruit for me to actually start it out with. So once again, anyone want to join your team just to figure out which the idea we gonna focus on, and right after the pitch here, we have to be able to help you on discussing about that, and then pick and choose what idea we're gonna start, right? Okay, great. So she had 3 different ideas, from UMass Lowell app to gummy bears, right? And asthma, Midwest. Okay, that's it. Next one I have here. Natalie, that's you?
Hello, my name is Hafiz. This is my second semester here. Just like I heard about this program last semester of this big idea challenge, and then I was thinking about what's gonna be my idea. And then I got this injury last semester. So I've been on crutches for 3 months now, and I finally decided what would be my idea. I want to make robotic arms and legs for amputees to help them with their lives, to do whatever they love to do and get to where they need to be. It's a tough thing to make. It's very difficult because you have to have a lot of skills and a lot of designing and a lot of process. But I think together with others people help, I think we can do it. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you very much. So now here with robotic arm or legs, right? Anyone interested in that? And especially, I think a call for engineers here, right? To join your team as well. So please, if you want interested in this team, join on the tables. Thank you. I have 3 more. Lillian Rando. Lillian, yes, please.
So I have a 23-year-old son with autism who just graduated college, and in the future I want to move, and he's decided that he is not coming with me. So that kind of freaks me out. So I've been working on a manual and an app for him to kind of create like a village of all these people and all these issues and all these things that he can turn to, like a resource manual and an app to help him live independently. We can't afford to have a person help him all the time. So, and he is very independent, but at the same time, I want to make sure that as much as I can show him and teach him and have all those resources at his fingertips, it would make my life easier and his life easier. So this is both for individual adults that live with autism, but it's also for the parents as well, to give them that kind of bridge, something between them and their child, so that way they're not freaking out that they're living on their own. And I need help.
Can you tell me what type of help, what kind of skill set that you're actually looking for from the other students?
To build an app to help me with that. All these other, I've networked with other parents and adults with autism. I know what they need, what they're looking for, what's not out there, but I don't know how to make an app.
How about how science students can be part of our teams as well? So once again, Lillian with the idea of autism app and manuals. Join your team if you're interested in that idea. Next one I have Next one I have Michelle and Katie. So it's the same
idea or?
Same idea.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Okay.
Hi. So, we are both in physical therapy, and we're just thinking of an idea of trying to make a mat or some sort of device where you can walk and it simulates the outdoors more functionally than something that already exists. So far, in existence, there are things like Eric's pads that are just foam, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's not really very functional, so we're trying to make it more functional for people who have chronic ankle sprains or people who have TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, spinal problems, brain issues, anything where they have off balance and they really need to learn how to walk again and try to get back into the community. And we're looking for plastic engineers specifically, and mechanical, any sort of engineer, or anyone else who's really interested and wants to talk to us about it. We really think that if we can get this up and running, it'll make moves and make waves in the physical therapy industry. So it's a very interesting topic that we're hoping to take off.
Thank you very much. For you looking for team George Hurd, so I can. I have a shopping cart here. I have the holding on and legs over there. I have whether or not in space kind of research right here and decided on ideas. I have autism's manuals and act right over here. So would you mind setting up? Join the team, join the idea that you're interested in. Even now, you kind of want to know more about the idea, join them, talk to them. And at each table, I have a questions for you to discuss on. Okay? All the people who are standing up pitch the idea using a solution. So we would like you to discuss further in terms of what kind of solution, what kind of problem that solution is solving. Whose problem is that? And how that solution is helping those people. And what kind of resources you need to make that happen. Help the idea makers here to create it into reality. Can we move on to those tables and have discussions going on?
I don't know how to get
We have a few ideas. We're not sure exactly what would work and what would be the best option. One of them would be creating accountability for doctors prescribing opioids, such as a system that logs the amount of opioids that we prescribed and would send a ping to a committee or some sort of council, keeping these doctors in line for what they're prescribing. Other options include like a Dropbox. Some issues with that would be security and getting the word out for where these Dropboxes would be. Because I know a lot of people have troubles bringing in opioids into police stations, and some people may not be comfortable with that, especially if they're not required in a legal manner. So it creates another option for people who may not feel the most comfortable in those situations.
Well, we're senior nursing students, and we are taking this community health class. And through the last semester, we've been researching about Lawrence, Massachusetts. And based on our research that we conducted last semester, we saw that there's an increase in teen pregnancies, but also young moms who, they don't have the proper education to know how to take care of these newborns. So with that, there's a lot of sudden-infant death syndrome, which I know a lot of you guys have heard about. Basically what happens is when baby goes to sleep, they don't wake up the next morning, and there's a lot of reasons that people don't know why, but there's other reasons that we can do to prevent this sudden-infant death syndrome, which Steph's going to talk about.
So for the specific problems we want to solve, the infant mortality rate in the United States, the United States is rated 30 out of 40 countries, so that's pretty good. We spend most on healthcare as well, so that should be an issue for us. There's also a direct link with the income compared to faculty communities. So low income equals poor health, probably because they can't get the education, they can't have the transportation to go get that education. So who's affected by the problem? So parents, low income families, the infants. So they're either uneducated or not properly educated. We're probably gonna think about doing like a free nonprofit class for the parents in low income neighborhoods. Maybe including like pamphlets, demonstrations, or a hotline. And the idea will help us solve the problem, and it'll educate the parents, increase infant mortality, and then increase the population. So we are focusing on the women's YMCA in Lawrence, and maybe transitional homes, or other community places such as like the hospital in Lawrence.
Thank you very much. Oh, the last piece. What do you need to make it happen?
Oh, maybe business majors, marketing, public health.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. The problem that I want to solve is that I believe that everybody has a right to, do whatever they love to do. And check. Yeah. So the problem is that you have to have your own freedom, and I believe that without your freedom, it's like you're not really living your life. And the thing is, everybody deserves to get to where they want to be. And in our day-to-day life, like if you have a physical disability, it's very difficult to get to places. And sometimes you have to get to places on certain times. And that's a barrier that people face with this physical disabilities. But like, for example, today I had a 2 o'clock appointment for my physical therapy, and the thing is, I had to call Uber, and when the Uber arrives in the location, you have to be at the exact location, and they don't want to wait. So when I called Uber, I was inside the building, and I had to get to the parking lot. So I was talking to the guy, like, just wait for me, I'm on crutches, I'll be there in like 2 to 3 minutes, and he just don't want to wait. He says, you would have to be there right now. But I was requesting him so much to the point I thought he was going to leave me. And the thing is, I have already missed my appointment once, and if I miss the second time, I get discharged from the therapy, and if that happens, I'll be in like big trouble because I have to get better, and that's the only way I can get better. So I requested him, like, if you have the decency, the humanity, to just wait for me so I can get there on time, and I'm just requesting you as a human being. And he did. I got there as fast as I could. He did wait for me, and I'm thankful for that, because otherwise it would have been really bad. But maybe because I made the request and waited, but otherwise he wouldn't have. But the point is that I believe that people with physical disabilities deserves to be where they want to be, not time. Because it's not fair for if someone is perfectly healthy, full functional body to get to where they want to be on time. If they can do that, everybody else should be able to do that. It's really not fair.
I think you kind of try to solve a really larger problem here, right? From, the ability of move and going to where you want to go, to the house society of people treating people with disabilities. So the key point of the whole exercise here is asking what specific problem that you actually want to deal with. So from the largest idea of the problem, you can't solve all of the piece of problem here. It's a huge problem. Once you pick it out into a smaller chunk, the chance that actually I can, with my ability, with my idea, that actually can solve it. Let's say you have background in robotics. With the movement, with the freedom of movement, my robotic skills would help me to look at existing technology and how to improve it, that allow people with disability can move better, can be freedom to move around faster pace or something like that. Or people in, maybe in psychologies, or can think of how society look at the disability, how they can improve the way other people treat with certain, I don't know, program, awareness program or something like that, community program to improve that. So the question here is always, when you look at a solution, you always want to pinpoint what specific problem I'm trying to solve here. It's going to be a huge one, but pick one, detailed one, based on your skill set, based on your knowledge, based on your passion to solve, right? So in this case, it could be you are the, what is your major? Mechanical engineering. It looks like you are in the field of more robotic. That's where you go. And when you started to pitch, don't go farther than where specific problem you're trying to solve. Okay? So I think we should work further on that. And we love to sit down and meet with you how to pitch your idea, how to actually pinpoint what you can do. Okay? Cool. Thank you so much.
So, my idea started off as a research proposal that my professor made us all do for her class. And I had no idea what I wanted to do it on, so I decided to do something with one of the classes I was taking in this semester. So I took cardiovascular physiology last semester, and I really loved that class, got to learn a lot about heart functionality, ECGs, and heart diseases. In my undergrad, I'm a grad student right now, ran track and field for UMass Lowell, so I love sports, but I also love science, so I decided to do my research proposal on finding a way to diagnose a heart condition in athletes, who are the primary group at risk for this disease. And Apple came out with the ECG watch, or the Apple Series 4 watch that is able to do ECGs, just a standard, really basic ECGs. So I wanted to see if I could use that technology with other technology that I hope to develop to diagnose these conditions, which are undiagnosable unless you go into a doctor's office and get a physical, which is, if any of you guys have been to the doctor's office, if you're a healthy individual, they're not going to order an ECG on you. But these conditions can appear in any healthy individual. So it's really important that we monitor for this disease out on the court or on the field or on the track or wherever you are practicing.
Thank you very much. I think this is the conclusions of the event tonight. Again, I thank you very much. I really appreciate that they all stayed here and discussed about your idea. And I do hope that this is a first step and you all apply for the idea challenge. And again, the application is end at February 12th. So make sure it's open now, so you actually can log in online and apply for the idea challenge. Thank you very much. Yes. Good night.